In this video, we're learning about the factors that affect plant growth. So we'll cover how genetic factors control plant characteristics and growth, how environmental conditions affect plant development, and then finally, how genetic factors and environmental conditions work together to influence growth. Let's start by exploring how genetic factors control plant characteristics and growth. Just like how you inherit traits from your parents, say your mom's hair color or your dad's height, plants also inherit genetic information that determines many of their characteristics. These genetic factors control a whole bunch of different stuff, though. For example, whether a plant will be tall or short, have broad or narrow leaves, produce red or white flowers, or even how its roots will develop. Consider the differences between a cactus and a water lily. A cactus has genes that code for stem and root structures that can store water to survive in deserts, while a water lily has genes that code for wide, waxy leaves that can float on top of water. Genetic factors also determine other things that you can't see, though. Examples of these would be things like how efficiently a plant can use water, how well it can resist certain diseases, and what temperature ranges it can survive in. Importantly here, having the genetic potential for certain traits is one thing, but it's environmental conditions that determine whether a plant reaches that full potential. So next, let's examine how local environmental conditions affect plant development. Local conditions are basically all the environmental factors in the specific place where a plant is growing. So some examples of environmental factors would be things like water availability, sunlight exposure, soil quality, and temperature. You can think of genetic factors as setting the maximum possible height a plant could reach, but then the environmental conditions determine whether it actually reaches its potential height. Water availability is crucial because plants need water for a whole bunch of things: photosynthesis, transporting nutrients, and maintaining cell structure. Too little water causes plants to wilt and grow slowly, but too much water can damage roots and prevent proper nutrient absorption too. Light conditions also affect plant growth, and that's because light provides the energy for photosynthesis. Plants growing in shady areas often become tall and spindly as they stretch towards any available light, while those in bright sunlight tend to be more compact and sturdy. Soil quality is another important condition, and it primarily affects plant growth through nutrient availability. Rich, fertile soil provides essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and plants need these nutrients in order to build proteins and other important molecules. Because of this, poor soil quality can severely limit growth, regardless of how good a plant's genetics are. If we take a look at temperature, this is also an important factor, because it affects the rate of chemical reactions within plants. Because of this, most plants have an optimal temperature range where they grow best. In reality, this means that if the temperature is too cold, their processes slow down, but if it's too hot, they can become stressed or damaged, especially because hotter temperatures typically lead to more water loss. Finally, let's explore how genetic factors and environmental conditions combine to influence growth. The final appearance and characteristics of an adult plant result from a constant interaction between two things: its genetic instructions and the environmental conditions it experiences. Genetics set the potential for what a plant could become, but environmental conditions determine how much of that potential is actually achieved. As an example, consider two tomato plants, grown from seeds with identical genetics. If one grows in ideal conditions, so with plenty of water, sunlight, and rich soil, it might produce dozens of large, healthy tomatoes. But if the other plant grows with limited water, in partial shade, and poor soil, it might produce only a few small tomatoes, despite having identical genetics. This interaction explains why the same species of plant can look quite different when grown in different locations. Environmental stress can also trigger plants to express different genetic traits. For instance, some plants have genes that help them survive droughts, but these genes only become active when water becomes scarce.
If you haven't heard yet, you can find all of our videos on our website, cognito.org. You'll also find questions, flashcards, exam-style questions, and past papers. And we track all of your progress so that you always know what to study next. So sign up for free by clicking here or browse our playlist here on YouTube.